just by being citizens, anybody can be a productive and essential part of a research team.
My name is Lise Woensrecht. I'm an assistant professor at the Vrije Universiteit of Amsterdam.
I'm Dr. Pamela Wadende, lecturer of educational psychology at Kisi University.
My name is Mario Schmidt. I'm an anthropologist and I currently work at Busara.
My name is Brian Simeyu. I'm a community researcher and also a monitoring and evaluation officer.
My name is Mark Leichana, non-profit sector practitioner. I work at Shofco.
My name is Joel Ambua. I'm a researcher and I work with Busara.
I'm Fiona Jedemwashi. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Bordeaux.
My name is Dora Kumaket. I am a citizen ethnographer.
Good data is underrated.
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 I think underrated.
I think it's way more difficult to produce good data than people think.
I think many people rely on procedures and technical stuffs, and they think that good data is being produced.
Underrated or maybe underexplored yet is the conditions to make good data happen, and especially to make good data happen through interdisciplinary work, the ability to bring different kinds of perspective to the table to construct collectively good data.
Overrated.
I think overrated.
I believe surveys are collecting data in a hit and run kind of process. Sometimes it doesn't give you good data.
Overrated in development, underrated in my own discipline, anthropology.
That is complicated because it can be useful for certain data collection purposes, but on its own, it can't be fully relied on.
Overrated in the sense that they tend to be the default tool that can be used to do research. Maybe underrated in the sense that sometimes people are not necessarily, especially users of research, not those who make research, are not trained to ask themselves the right question about whether surveys are done in the right way. Yeah, I think that we need to emphasize more.
Underrated.
Overrated.
I think focus groups are underrated. Like, I think people find it hard to consume it, right? Because I think it's easy to see us like 80% said this, whatever. But I think that the richness of it like tells you things which are pretty hard to get in any other setting.
Someone may bring it out, may speak up about it, but now after that focus group discussion is over, the stigmatization that they will face in the community will be a lot.
Overrated.
I think they're overrated.
I think the answer has to be overrated. I think RCTs add real value and they can make sense in certain settings, but they're expensive, take a long time, and don't tell you everything.
When used for the right purpose, they are all right. But I think there are some people a bit overzealous about its capabilities and don't recognize some of the shortcomings of RCTs.
Overrated.
Overrated.
It is very underrated.
I think that's tend to be overrated.
Any research, we also need experts to have their insights generated or put on board.
Sometimes I think we're not careful enough about what do we mean by expert.
I think underrated, right? Like, I think we need to talk to experts about what we do. I think sometimes people don't and waste time and money repeating things. I think we just need to be broad and thoughtful about where expertise sits and who it comes from.
You're supposed to have a PhD or a master's to make analysis of a life that you're not even a part of.
Underrated. If done well, gives you really good 360-degree data of a subject that you might not be able to get in another way of collecting data.
Ethnography is underrated because of much of the informalities that involves collecting the data.
I think I have no choice but to say that it's underrated because I'm an anthropologist. It is definitely underrated in the sector, development sector. A lot of people talk about ethnographic methods, human-centered designs, participatory methods, but specifically the ethnographic method like participant observation, long-term, immersive, reduction of hierarchies, really taking people seriously. That is something that doesn't happen very often.
Underrated and overrated. Clearly, there's so much that the like quantitative research field can learn from anthropological qualitative methods, talking to people and seeing what their lives are like and observing them. But like, I do feel like there's, even within ethnography, an over-formalization, which excludes non-expert ethnographers and, you know, and isn't really that easy for practitioners and people consuming research always to engage with and use.
Underrated,
I think overrated.
especially the people who the research is about or who the project is for. They should be involved in all stages of the research or the project, from design to end, and that doesn't really happen yet.
I think participation is a bit like good data. It's becoming a buzzword.
It's almost like we'll train on participation and we'll do participation to you.
The crucial thing is not to essentialize it or to oversimplify it, but to be very careful, what we really mean by participation and what really happens on the ground. So that's just not using it as a buzzword, but also to maybe emphasize that participation, there's not a recipe for it.
Overrated and underrated at the same time. It is overrated because it is almost like seen as a magic stone to solve issues in development, which is not going to happen. Like, it's not like just using a participatory method cannot do away with these hierarchies. They remain. But at the same time, I think it's underrated because it is rarely taken to more intense forms where people are actually looped in for processing data, analyzing data, making their own decisions.
I think they're underrated and under-acknowledged. So it's even within communities, but also researchers versus people they work with. I think there should be a lot of attention for power dynamics.
Underrated, because they're very important and they exist in research. However much we want to imagine they're not there, they're there.
The power dynamics are heavily underrated, I would say.
When an interviewee is intimidated by the interviewer, maybe in terms of age, in terms of knowledge, in terms of language, the information, the interview will not be able to articulate their information or express themselves, hindering the research to gather the information that it requires.
Power dynamics are both overrated because everyone speaks about them, and yet sometimes we feel powerless in knowing how to address them.
Sometimes it's not clear what people are going to do about it. Like, I think if we just like problematize power dynamics, then we can just sort of spin in circles talking about it. And I think the question is just like, okay, so what are you going to do to meaningfully transfer a bit of power to those who have less?
The people who are producing knowledge are not necessarily the people who are supposed to benefit from that knowledge due to structural issues like power relations in society, political, economic structures. And I think we reflect not enough on that. And that is, I think, also one thing that we are trying to tackle with citizen ethnography. See, we are saying citizen ethnographers. So we do believe that just by being citizens, anybody can be a productive and essential part of a research team.